Hello everyone, we are from Group 6. We present our discussion about email etiquettes. Okay, I'm Sasa. Now, I would like to tell you about our topics. We have 5 topics discussion. The first one is email definition, second, types of email, third, email structure, next is responsibility in using email, and the last one is things to remember. Now, let's start with email definition. Do you know what is email, guys? Yep, email is a message that may contain text, files, image, or other attachment sent through a network to a specified individual or a group of individuals. Or, email is a message sent from one computer to another over the internet using a set webmail server address. There is two types of email. The first one is formal email and the second one is informal email. A formal email is typically sent to someone you don't know well or to someone who is in authority. The example of formal email is a formal email to professor, a public official, teachers or lecturer, or even a company you are doing business with. The second one is informal email. An informal email usually goes to a person you know well. Often it is someone you are on good terms with, such as a friend or family member. The example of informal email is an informal email to friends, relatives, and family members. Okay, there are two examples of email. The first one, example of formal email, and the second one is example of informal email. Okay, the next part is email structure. Email has a structure. The first structure is subject line, salutation, opening, body text, after that conclusion, and the last one is closing. Okay, the first one is subject line. The subject line is the ideal length, 6 to 10 words. It identifies the project by name and describes the topic of the email. As you can see there is an example of subject line. Okay, the example of a formal email subject line is required student meeting, December 5th, 9:13 a.m. The example of informal email subject line is upcoming meeting. Okay, next, there is a template from receiver's view. Okay, the next part will be explained by Ririn.
Okay, thank you, Sasa. In this part, I will explain about CC and BCC in an email and salutation. You guys are certainly familiar with the term CC and BCC in an email, right? So everyone, do you know what CC and BCC is? CC stands for carbon copy, while BCC stands for planned carbon copy. CC and BCC are both ways of sending copies of an email to additional people. However, you can put several email addresses in a to field all at once. Yet, when it comes to email etiquette, the to field is generally for the main recipients of your email. The CC and BCC field are for sending a copy to other interested parties for the same information. When to use CC and BCC? It's used when you want someone else to receive a copy of an email, but they aren't one of the primary recipients. When you CC people on an email, the CC lists are visible to all other recipients and everyone knows email address from each other. And when you BCC people on an email, the BCC list is secret. No one can see this list except the sender, and the recipient will not know email address from each other. Here are the examples if you use CC and BCC in your email. When you CC people on an email, both Bob and Jake know that the other received the same email. And when you BCC people on an email, neither Bob nor Jack will know that the other received the same email. So guys, can this be understood so far? Now let's move to the next topic about salutation. The salutation is how you greet the reader. That is why you have to use a professional salutation. The salutation directly addresses the person you are sending the email to. It's always used in formal email messages, but sometimes skipped in informal messages. And it's important that you understand whether you are addressing a formal or informal audience. Here are several types of salutation in an email. The first one is a formal email salutation to a group. For the examples, Dear students and Dear XYZ project team member. Both are addressed to the entire group. The second one is an informal email salutation to a group. For the examples, Hey class, Hi marketing team member. And the next one is a formal email salutation to an individual. For the examples, Dear Professor Smith and to whom it may concern. Usually it uses for the rare instances where you don't know a person's name or a title. And the last but not least is an informal email salutation to an individual. For the example, Hello Taylor and Hi Amin. That's all about salutation, and the next part will be explained by Kak Mega.
Hello everyone, I'm Mega and my serial number is 101, and now I'm going to continue Ririn's explanations. After we write the salutation part, we will jump to the opening part of our email. When we write a formal email, we are required to introduce ourselves. Like the example that is shown in the slideshow, it is written that Welcome to XYZ project. I look forward to working with each of you. The XYZ project will be starting soon. I will be heading up this project. I need to set some ground rules for project communication using this thread. From this example, it is clear that the line of Welcome to XYZ project is the introduction part of the opening paragraphs of the formal email. In contrast, if we want to send an informal emails, or if we want to send an email to someone that we already know, sometimes we do not need to use the introduction part, or we do not need to write the introduction paragraph in the opening part of our email. The next one is the body text. In a formal email, the body text conveys the main messages of the email. And while it is written as the formal email, it should be written as clear as possible and concisely in short paragraphs. And moreover, when we write the body text in a formal email, and where it has the clarity, we need to use the bullet or numbered list, like the example that is shown in this slideshow. it is written that I need to set some ground rules for project communication using this thread. First one, only communicate with project members. Second, focus on one thoughts per email. Third, if the email isn't about the project, do not include it in this thread. The fourth one, if you have a question, review the entire thread to make sure someone hasn't already answered it. From this example, it is clear that it is a kind of formal email because it used the bullet or numbered list in the body text of this email. Next, we have conclusion. In a formal email, the conclusion part summarizes the post of the email, and the conclusion part includes the call to action. What is the call to action? It is seen from the example that is shown in the slideshow, where it is written like, once again, welcome to XYZ project. Let me know if you have any questions. The line of let me know if you have any questions is clearly state the call to action for the recipient while they already read the email from the sender. Or in other words, the recipient can understand of what to do next after they read the email from us as the sender. The last part is closing. Closing part is written in a formal email to help the reader or the recipient of our email to find all the information about us as the sender of the email. And the closing part can be started by reading the complementary closing words first, like the example that is shown in the slideshows. It is written like best wishes as the complimentary closing, and then continued with the sender's name or the company's name, like Arthur the Giraffe, and then continued with the phone numbers of the senders, and also the email address of the senders to help the reader or the recipient of the email find the further information about the senders. Meanwhile, when you send an informal email, you do not need to put or write the closing part in your email. Or you may even omit the email closing in your informal email. The next one is email structure. And here is the example of a formal email. Here we have subject line, salutation, opening, body text, conclusion, and closing. In the subject line, don't forget to write 6 up to 10 words as the title or the purpose of your email to your recipient, and then the salutation as the greeting of your email, and then the opening part as the introduction part of your email or your purpose, and then the body text as the main messages of your email, and then the conclusion as the call for action for the recipient of your email, and also the closing part as the further information of you as the sender of the email to your recipient. And while we use the email to send or to receive the business letter for us, we need to have some responsibility in using the email. The first one, we need to check our email regularly. In order to respond to the person or to request in a timely manner, while we use the email to send our business letter, it is needed for us to check our email regularly. And then, never open an email from someone we do not know, like the spam, or trace, or show to an adult that we never seen before, or the the source that we never received before. Just omit it. And never ever click on a link in an email from someone you do not know. In order to avoid the hackers, viruses, or inappropriate email, it is better for us not to open an email from a stranger or from the sender that we do not know who is the source or who is the sender of the email. And the next one, if we are a student, it is better for us to use two email accounts to separate our personal business and our school business. And the next one, do not forget to use the spell check, proofread before sending to make a good impression to our recipient as the indication that we show our care to our recipient regarding to the email that we send to them. And also keep our inbox organized, like arranging the timeliness, the responsiveness, the orderly, and not to lose an email from the others.
Everyone, this is my part. My part is about language used in using email. It is an example of formal email language. The meeting is scheduled for December 5th at 9:30 a.m. All students must attend. Your project updates are needed. And now let's compare the formal language with the informal email language in this email. Required meeting December 5, 9:30 a.m. Updates needed. See you there. See, the informal language is not like appropriate language that used in using email. You should use a formal language when sending an email, especially to a company. Here's the formal email. Have very defined structure. Avoid using abbreviation, contraction, slang, emoticons, and other informal terminology. Very considering the use of tone in the language used. And here's the informal email. Has a free structure, may not use complete sentence or proper grammar, do not need to worry as much about structure and tone. Manners in writing email. First, be friendly. Example words like please and thank you. Use your best grammar and spelling to show your care. Email is not private. Please be careful what you say. Use words like please and thank you. Start with hi or dear. Don't use slang. Example like the term lit refer to something that is amazing. Be polite. Start polite salutation with hi, hello, or dear. Be appropriate. Don't talk the things outside of the context of your aims in the email. Now, the things to remember. This is the example of what not to do in email. Like in the formal email, you cannot use like everything in the caps lock, and you use informal language and use slang like thanks with X and a lot of exclamation mark. This is the example of what not to do in formal email. This is your email should like this. Okay, this is the formal email with clear structure, correct grammar, and formal language. Thank you. It's time to question and answer section.